how long do we need to be eating omega-3 before it has a positive effect?
Well, I mean, in our experiments or our studies, you can see an effect within 2 weeks, a very small effect. You really want to keep them going for at least 3 months to see an effect. And then, of course, people ought to go on eating it forevermore, because you lose, as I was saying, 5 milligrams of the DHA from your brain each day, and it's got to be replaced.
So how does it actually work? How does omega-3 improve the way we think and the health of our brain?
Well, I could give you a very long lecture on this, and I do, but I won't. The point is that your nerve cells have membranes around them, and those membranes are made essentially of essential fatty acids, and they sit around. Those of you who've done biology will know that the membrane consists of lipids, lipid molecules sticking like this. This is the outside, this is the inside of the cell. And one of those lipids has to be DHA for it to have exactly the right chemical and electrical properties to allow the ionic channels that allow the electricity through the membrane to open and shut fast. If they don't open and shut fast, your whole brain slows down, and that's what we see. I didn't show you this, but there's a famous diagram of all our brains getting slower. Our reaction time is getting slower because, I say partly, not always, that's not the only thing, but partly because we're just not eating enough of this fish. It speeds up your brain. So, as he said, it oils your brain.
So if the evidence is this solid, why aren't we all eating more fish? Why? I mean, what can be done to persuade schools, prisons, care homes, wherever, to eat more fish? Why aren't we doing it?
I just think we're overloaded with sort of fads about food, and it's just, I think the public just generally think, well, it's another fad. You know, there's just we're so sort of bombarded with things about, you know, things that we should eat, things that we shouldn't eat. But if only one could just get over the sort of natural thing. It's just something that comes out of the sea and you eat. And there has to be some sense in eating things that haven't been sort of chemically altered, you know? And so it's almost like common sense. It doesn't need, you know, much. But trying to get people to actually see that. I mean, I get sort of completely sort of not confused, frustrated. I think that, you know, it goes much deeper with everybody than just, I must have this, I must have that. We're all looking for some sort of spiritual guidance, you know, and I think this is why everybody has this sort of like fad about food, whereas the reality of it is staring us in the face. You know, you are what you eat. It's as simple as that. And, you know, we've always eaten fish, and it seemed to do us rather well.
I think it's a cultural thing originally in the UK. That is that fish was regarded as a poor man's food. I always remember the story of the dockers going on strike because they didn't like the way in which the only meal they ever had was oysters. They went on strike because they felt that it was demeaning not to have beef and so on. And somehow fish got associated with lower class life. Then those of us who went to boarding school will know that we had appalling fish on Fridays. Do you remember?
Yes, I do.
Because it was very ancient and it was probably 6 weeks old and badly stored and badly cooked. It was horrible. So everybody was put off fish, but at all levels of classes, because fish was just regarded as nasty food. And culturally, we've lost the habit.